to Vision, a recovery radio show for women. I'm Sarah, and this is Elena.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Elena.
Good evening. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited about tonight's show. We have an action-packed show. I cannot see any of you, but I assume that Debbie and Aaron are in the studio with you.
Yes, I have people in the studio.
I have people in the studio with me, too. Hold on. Let me get the camera so you guys can see. So, hey, ladies.
Hi.
Tonight, guys, we have Debbie and Aaron, and I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about themselves and what they do. And then here in the basement studio with me, I have Amy. And she has been somebody that's been around in recovery way before I ever come around. And she's somebody that I look up to, and she speaks all over the place. And so I wanted to get her on here because she always has some good stuff to say, and she's a strong person in her recovery. So, hi, Debbie and Aaron. I want you guys to introduce yourselves, and can you all tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi, yes, my name is Debbie, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. I'm the owner of Acme Ranches Transition House, which is a pet-friendly facility. I also am the owner of NoMoreHeroin.org. And the owner of RestoringHopeSoberServices.com, which is, I'm a nationally certified interventionist and a recovery coach and life coach, and I took all my classes with Callie Estes, so I got my international master's addiction coaching certification.
Wow, listen to those credentials.
Right. How do I get one of those? I want to be an international anything.
Callie Estes, the Addictions Academy. She's amazing.
I'm definitely might have to hit her up.
Yeah,
so.
She'll be on after us, so she'll be here.
Nice.
Awesome. And what about you, Aaron?
Well, I don't have all those credentials, that's for sure. Close enough?
Yep.
Okay. I did take one of the courses with Callie Estes as well. I am a certified coach. And in business with Debbie, we have some halfway houses locally, 2 female houses, 2 male houses, and that's what we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And you guys are located in South Florida?
We're in West Palm Beach, Lake Worth.
All right.
And we're natives. Just going to throw that out there.
Right.
We're natives.
Born and raised.
Where are you guys from?
West Palm Beach.
Yeah, they're both from Florida.
Oh, okay. So you're both from Florida. All right. Amy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name's Amy. I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I suffer from alcoholism and addiction. I work a 12-step program. I'm also a student. I'm completed my ASN and in the middle of BSN with a future degree in master's. What I see and where I come from this is more what the medical community, the American Nursing Association, where we can be beneficial and helpful. I took a job at my local hospital and realized they did not have an opiate withdrawal protocol. We had guys coming in with abscess, endocarditis, kidney failure. We couldn't get them to sit still long enough to treat them because we were offering opiates to help you sit still. And we cannot combat a mental obsession, a physical allergy that way. So I worked with some local doctors and we came up with a opiate withdrawal protocol, which actually just went in effect about 3 days ago. Yeah. And we're having real good success with it. And hopefully we're going to expand on that. The CEO of the hospital, our chief executive officer, she said, if you save 2 lives a year, you've done a good job. So she's kind of given us some room now to continue with bringing some support into the hospital bed, into the room. You know, these guys are landing in our ERs and they're running out before I can even tell you that there's a solution and you don't have to live that way. Right. They're coming upstairs, they're being admitted, they're having surgeries, we're on IV antibiotics. And before I can get you well, what happens is we treat the abscess, we treat the endocarditis, but medically people are afraid to say what's killing you. They don't want that official diagnosis. And doctors, we've always baffled the medical community. And unfortunately, they don't have the tools or the information to make that progress. So that's what I'm doing where I work. And I'm trying to just be that voice and give these, our medical community, our nurses, our doctors who are so frustrated with us, some solution and hopefully reach some young men and women that we fix that endocarditis and we relieve that abscess and we get you well. We can also tell you why that we can speak openly about what you need to do that you don't end up here in 6 more weeks or 6 months or dead on one of our tables. So that's my work.
Wow, that's amazing.
Tell us,
It is.
it's unheard of. So can you tell us what is the opiate? What is the protocol?
Well, what we're using, if you went into a medical detox center, basically we use a medicine called clonidine. And we have a scale. We look at itchy, watery eyes. We look at irritability. We look at joint pain. We look at restlessness. We have a scale we go through. Now, the clonidine, it would be a scheduled thing. We're also supplementing, of course, with multivitamins, thiamine, things like that, trying to get you to eat, trying to get you to rest. And then we also have some, Zofran if you're nauseous. We've got some PRN medicines that we can use. The clonidine is our big deal. It's our big tool. We're able to give that schedule and kind of hold a fella still. We still see a lot of day 3 problems. People, day 3 is just a tough time for folks. And so we try to do non-narcotic PRN medications to help, with the joint pain, with the sleeplessness. We also do we bring in a psychiatrist on day 3 to talk to you about long-term treatment and any medications, antidepressants, things like that, just to get you on your feet. And I'm really proud of my hospital, and I'm proud of their willingness to move forward and work with me on this. But there's still so much work to do because we're there, but we have no after program yet. And it blew my mind that our local medical community was stuck there. That was one of my big shockers when I went to work in the hospital. So we're just plugging away, we're plugging away. And they said they are going to hire some addiction specialists to be on staff, some clinicians, and then hopefully we'll start hiring some peer support specialists to get in there, and we can get these guys. We'll use people like Elena and James to get these guys then to appropriate treatment facilities once we get them detoxed.
What is going on?
Sleazy
James is down here with us.
is messing with the camera, so
Wow, that's a great thing that you got started.
Well, there's a lot of work to do with it, but I think I'm working with some people that recognize the community epidemic and are ready to step forward and offer some solutions. So I'm blessed that way.
And you all don't use any kind of synthetic opiate at all? It's just strictly
No,
clonidine?
and that's what before this protocol, that's what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is ridiculous. We're not helping anybody. This is not good. This one is a clonidine based for 5 days. They'll get it for 5 days. And then, but like I said, where we're at now, we just got that 3 days ago, but it needs to be more. It needs to go further because that just gets us 5 days.
Right.
We have to have something beyond that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, that's something that we all definitely have in common is we're all fighting this, in our own way, in our daily lives and what we do. So, Debbie, tell me a little bit, how long have you been sober and how long have you been, in this business and trying to combat addiction in the way that you do?
You want me to tell you a little bit about my story?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, awesome. When I was a little girl, I was molested. My abuser gave me alcohol. I became a full-blown drug addict by the time I was 10. My dad was very abusive. He used to beat my mom on a daily basis, but I love my dad. So I was like the lost child. I was a middle child. So I divorce really affected me. Both my parents ended up committing suicide, 3 months apart. And then, I was raped. I gave birth to my now 23-year-old daughter handcuffed to a bed. I've been to prison 3 times. I have multiple felonies, all due to my addiction and the fact that I wouldn't tell anybody about the molestation. My stepdad, he was my biggest hero. He was dying, and my last arrest was 8/24/2009, and the judge sentenced me to. What he told me, my dad went in there and he said, I want my daughter to take care of me because he was dying and he had already had to have his body amputated. And he said he wanted me to take care of him. And the judge says to me, he says, you know what, Miss Perkins? He says, this is what I know. He says, you're going to be back. He said, but I'm going to give you a chance to take care of your dad because he deserves that. And he sentenced me to 2 years house arrest and 3 years of probation. And during those 2 years of house arrest, he sentenced me to a meeting every day. And I was mad. You know, I went into the meetings. I tore people up in those meetings. I beat a couple people up in the church parking lot. You know, everybody that came up to me, I, cussed them out, and I told them I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because the judge said I had to be, and signed my paper and let me go. And, I believed in God but I was afraid of him, and the whole 12 steps of recovery is, pretty much spiritual. I didn't have a problem with the first step. My time that I've done in jail, 2/3 of my life I did locked up. And, but I was safe there. I was scared to death of everybody. I was scared of people, but I knew how to beat people up, and I was really good at it. And nobody knew that I was in so much pain because I wouldn't tell. And so they told me to pick a sponsor. I picked one that gossiped, and I finally just told a whole room of people that I wasn't going to let her tell my stuff. And I went in a room with about 70 people, screaming, crying, and I told them all I was molested, and I had no idea that, that was God doing for me that I didn't know how to do, and that was the beginning of my recovery. My clean date is August 24th of 2009. And next month I'll have 8 years sober.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
What an incredible
that's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I was shackled to a hospital bed dying of hepatitis B because I was, trying to be ride or die for my boyfriend. He wasn't even my boyfriend. Let's just go on and say that. He wasn't even my boyfriend. Okay. He was just some guy that had some stuff that I wanted. And I was shackled to a hospital bed and turned completely yellow when the doctor came in and told me I wasn't going to make it through the night. So I can relate so much to that. And, I'll never forget what it felt like being shackled to that hospital bed and making it out of that, because I really did not think that I was going to get out of that one. Like, I thought this was it. This is it. And I had no idea when I was like, oh, I'll take those, for you, and you don't have to go to jail, and I'll go to jail. And, you can see what that behavior got me. So I really appreciate that. And, so
it's really
Aaron,
funny when I went in the room, I hated all them people, truly hated everybody in there. And, it's those rooms that saved my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember being in drug court here in Kentucky, and they kept making me go to meetings, and it seemed to me like I would go in and get my meeting sheet signed, but everything I did, and the whole time I was in drug court, I would go to AA meetings. I wouldn't listen to a word anybody said. And all I tried to do was get with everybody else that was in drug court and figure out how I can use something and not get caught. And that was a profession. Like, I had it down to a science. I would walk in the place where you had to drop, and I would be falling over, drooling on myself, and still drop clean, if you know what I mean. And because I could make bottles of people's urine like in 2 seconds. I made one in jail one time with a lotion bottle, a trash bag, and a hair tie.
Come on, MacGyver.
And I passed that test because it really became, and just to think, like, all that time, if I would have listened in the meetings I was going to and like grasped on, but I just wasn't ready then. I couldn't have. There's kids now that are getting sober at 20 years old, and I'm just like, there is no way. The party was still happening.
Right.
Could not have missed that. So
I don't know. I think what the kids are doing nowadays, the things that we're up against in our community and the things that are coming in, man, the party's over pretty quick. These guys look just, they're dying. We're burying kids left and right here, and it just is ridiculous. When I came in, I was ready. Like, I was happy to be in an AA meeting. My mind was so crazy, or in a meeting, my mind was so crazy and went so fast. If somebody said, get your coffee and have a seat, man, it was like I could breathe for the first time that day. And would just kind of keep that with me, trying to get to the next one and move forward. But like, it was just one of those situations where I'd been beaten into a state of reasonableness, and I was willing to do different things. But, it took a while to get there. It took a while to get there because we fight it for so long. And I'm just, these kids nowadays, I look at what's going on with them, and I just think, man, if we can get some programs in place, if we can get some contacts, one of the biggest things is, what do I do about it? What do I do about it? And that's why things like this and what everybody's doing are just so important, because they got to know that there's something they can do about this.
Well, it's also the parents too. Yeah. Because I say this, and y'all have heard me say it, behind every good addict is a great enabler.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's so many parents and family members that have these kids that are just dying. They're dying and they don't know what to do. And I know we've put some stuff in place like Casey's Law and things like that, but it's just, it's really bad. So, Erica, so I would like to get to you for a minute and, Aaron, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And get to you for a minute and maybe tell a little bit about what brought you here and how you got to where you're at today.
Well, I just celebrated 5 years. I had 20 and relapsed with 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And it, it's the same story you hear from everybody. I quit going to meetings, quit helping people, stopped working a program because my ego was so big. I got 20 years, I got this. And focused on my unmanageable children, because I had 4 boys, and one was in prison, one was in the Army, one was doing what he was doing, and I had a little guy. And, fortunately, those kids are clean and sober now, My oldest son, me and him pick up 3 days apart. That's when I really got clean and sober, was when I realized his disease was full-blown. And I couldn't be that role model if I wasn't working a program of recovery. That's all they knew.
Yeah.
And so I started, I stopped doing what I was doing and got him clean and sober, and here we go.
Well, awesome. So let me ask you this, Aaron. How long, so you were sober for 20 years and you stopped, worked 12-step backwards or whatever you want to call it. How
Sure.
long did you stay out before you came back?
It was a good 4 years. A good 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it worse, never better?
Well, my kids did an intervention on me,
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't go back and do the original drugs of choice that got me. I was, an old heroin addict back in the day.
Yeah.
Then I detoxed off of heroin from crack. If that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the easy way. And so I didn't do those things. But, I got addicted to pills. And it was no joke. I detoxed on my son's couch, and it was ugly. Because you lie. You never tell them, how many are you doing? 3?
Right.
You never tell the truth. We lie.
Of course.
We lie. And, but it's, it's not easy to come back, but it's, you can do it. It's that comeback that makes us more powerful.
Yes, and I've seen it happen because, my night, I can so relate to that because my night started out, I would go buy a double deuce at the store. And then, so I'd drink the double deuce and I'd be like, oh, I need a Xanax. And then I would take the Xanax and I would be slobbering on myself. And I'm like, hold on, let me do a line of cocaine or something to wake myself up.
Right.
So I would do a line of cocaine and then we would go to the club and I would drink all night. And then I'd be like, oh, I need another line of cocaine to wake myself up. Mm-hmm. And then I'd do another line of cocaine to wake myself up. And then I'd be like, oh, but hold on, my nose is hurting now. And so it was just like one thing evolved into another. And like, it seemed like every night of my life for so long went like that. I had to have one thing to come down off another. And then like, Sleazy talks about it all the time. Whenever he did heroin, he would have to take Benadryl because it made him itch. And, it was like just insanity, pure insanity.
It is insane.
But
yeah,
I've definitely seen a lot of people come back, Aaron, and I think that's amazing that you were able to come back after, 20 years of sobriety. Didn't you have some?
I was sober 3 years and, just decided, I thought, I was young when I got sober and probably what I was doing was normal, even though it absolutely nothing normal about it. And like Aaron, I thought I'm not going to go back to that other stuff. I'll just do this stuff. But it was about 10 years of darkness. It was 10 years. I got back March 6th of 2010. So I just celebrated 7 years in March. But Aaron, I don't know if you relate like I do. This time, that gift of desperation and that reality, man, it sounds like you go foot to pavement down there in Florida. And I know that's what I do up here. We, having sobriety and then losing it, it just gives you if you make it back, just the relief that you made it back, and then the work we get so busy doing. It sounds like you're really taking that and doing a lot to help some people down there.
We are,
that's what it's our lives are on the line, so we got to keep going.
I'm blessed my kids are in recovery. But
my dad's in recovery. He's 28 years sober, and had to watch me kind of do my thing and in and out, and but now our relationship, I don't know, I'm sure it's this way with you and your kids, but me and my dad, we talk about things that other parents and kids don't talk about. We talk about real stuff and spirituality and God of our understanding, man. And it's just a unique relationship when you also share the family. I heard a guy say the language of love is spoken in our home.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Me and my kids are super close.
Right.
They're my everything,
Yeah.
So I'm blessed.
How many kids do you have that are in sobriety?
I have 4 boys. 2 are in sobriety and 2 aren't. And don't, aren't one of us. The 2 that aren't,
But the 2 that are sober.
They are. One picked up 5 years with me and one's got 4.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Right.
That's
That's great.
awesome.
And they're amazing kids. Her entire family supports everything that her and I do, and we're crazy. We're always out there running the streets trying to save somebody. Yeah. And every time we turn around, we're running out the door, and her kids they support everything that we do, and they laugh
Isn't
at us.
it?
There they go again.
Yeah, it's just amazing that we become part of that altruistic movement where our drive each day is to see who we can help, and that's just so foreign from where I was, 7.5 years ago. I just that entire psyche change and priority shift. It's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a firm believer you can't keep what you have if you don't give it away.
That's right.
Amen.
And if you're not giving it away, you're not going to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
just my opinion on it, I believe that.
Absolutely.
There was something that I wanted to talk about, if you don't mind. I keep seeing, there's so much hatred on Facebook, and I just actually saw a comment from a young lady on what's going on with us tonight on the page. And, a lot of people that don't understand addiction, we're judged and we'll never become productive members of society. And there's one lady talking about, why would you do it if you knew that this was going to happen to you? And, we don't go out there and say, I'm gonna be a drug addict now. This is what I choose.
Right.
We all come from different areas of our life, and we don't say, okay, I'm just going to become a drug addict today. It just
Right.
doesn't happen that way. We all, for some reason or other, some out of pain, some out of they just didn't know until they crossed that line of addiction and didn't know how to get out of it. And it's just like, in our recovery, I was reading these posts from these hateful women the other day about judging people on their different ways of recovery, and there's not a one size fits all in this industry.
Right.
Just the way that I got sober doesn't mean that's the way that you're going to get sober, and the hatred in this, some of these people in this industry goes beyond anything that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And
we talk about that all the time, and it's no fighting in the lifeboat.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
we're all in the lifeboat, we're trying to not sink, and then everybody's like breaking out into fights over what color shirt you're wearing because
Right.
it's the wrong color.
Right.
And and because of what we do, we get attacked all the time on Facebook, and especially by our community here.
Right.
We're constantly attacked and scrutinized and criticized, but it's all things that people don't understand.
Right.
But I say this all the time. I made an amends to the universe because I sucked it dry for so long that
Right.
anything that I do, I'm going to bring a positive note to anyone's life that I touch, and
Right.
anything that I do, and all that negativity can just stay out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have to take a break, ladies. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit about some, South Florida recovery down there.
Yes.
And Amy don't know a whole lot about it.
Right.
so
I'm
we're gonna,
interested.
Yes.
talk about that, and we'll talk about that when we come back. So we have Amy, Debbie, and Aaron in the studio tonight. We'll be right back, guys.
Something in the wake of your smile. I get a notion from the look in your eyes. Yeah, you built a love, but that love falls apart. You
year 2, year 3, year 4, against all odds, and I'm still on the road. 4 calendars, almost 1,500 nights, and I'm still right here, still screaming so alive. Yeah, I'm going all in until my last breath. Can I get an amen? Passionate, adamant, surface just scratching it. No need to caption it, promoting, I be blasting it. Yeah, we are not a glum lot. That's why I bang it, bunny hop and make the trunk pop. So Professor originated, yeah, you know it's me. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, boy, I got a dream. Started with a OZ, ended with a VOP, but now I'm here like Outkast, so fresh and so clean. MVP of my recovery, owe it to my higher power, my G.O.D. Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Yeah, I'm a miracle. Here we go hysterical. Just jump onto my merry-go and tune in like a stereo. As I channel the spirit, make you feel it and hear it until you scream it and cheer it. If you feeling how I'm feeling, better stand up. Bob your head with me, put them hands up. Now wave them side to side, look me in my eyes. You surprised I'm alive? Well, I've arrived. Rising from the bottom, cutting all ties. Spitting knowledge for everybody who traumatized. I can't, he can, need to improvise. Cause this disease is bittersweet, key lime. You think I'm lying? I've seen it all and these the facts. But if you doubt me, do some research, hope you make it back. And when you do, I'll be right here with open arms. And we can journey together, baby, now sing along. Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, you live and learn. 100 forms of fear, curled up like a perm. Had to straighten things out, neutralizer. Cause I was swimming through the trash like a scuba diver. Drowning, frowning, upside down, and searching for a reason like the Sermon on the Mountain. Had to drop the rock and grab the life preserver, and now I'm free from bondage and play the tapes further. Now the rain is gone and I can see clearly. Seriously, everything I say has sincerity. Real tough, I don't need a parody. Apparently, someone had a vision is why you stare at me. One set of footprints, you can guess who carried me. Yep, I'm convinced and I'ma rep until they bury me. But not today, there's still some work to do. Won't stop until someone is saved. Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Yo, I don't know if you know this, but you can look me in my eyes and see the focus. One day at a time, no motives.
I'll be spitting that dope for the whole place.
Floridians everywhere are turning into energy experts with new smart tools from FPL. With your online energy dashboard and the new FPL mobile app, you can stay on top of your energy use anytime, anywhere. And with the new projected bill feature, you have time to learn how to save even more. Take the online home energy survey at fpl.com/easy to save, and you could save up to $300 a year.
Hey guys, James Sweezy here, real quick. If you're experiencing daily fatigue or having trouble sleeping, I found a product that was designed to help improve symptoms associated with post-acute withdrawal syndrome. TheLiquidRecovery.com provides supplements designed by people in recovery for people in recovery. The AM formula helps to improve energy and supports natural relief from brain fog. The PM formula helps support natural sleep so you can fall asleep and stay asleep, and it helps reduce feelings of anxiety or irritability. The folks at TheLiquidRecovery.com want to be clear that this product will not get you clean and sober. It's simply another tool for your toolbox to help combat fatigue and sleeplessness. Order now at www.theliquidrecovery.com and be sure to enter the discount code RADIO for free shipping. That's www.theliquidrecovery.com. James Sweezy, I'm out.
All right, we're back. Do I have the girls in the other studio? All right, we don't. Yellow.
Continue.
Hi. Yeah, we're back.
All right, guys. So listen, the comments have been lit up tonight. There's just all kinds of people saying a bunch of stuff about, being educated about recovery and things like that. And, I'm just a firm believer. I don't try to fight hate with hate. But people, you never know when a seed's going to be planted. So whoever's in the comments that doesn't understand addiction, if you're listening, that I hope that maybe you will educate yourself a little bit on it and try to understand it a little bit more.
Yes.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to say to that.
Well, I can tell you medically, as a nurse and working in the hospitals, it's we get diabetics who don't treat their diabetes and they end up with foot ulcers, or they end up requiring amputations or with vision loss. We don't go in and shake our finger at them, and, but certainly they have some control over how that disease is going to affect them. That same responsibility that we put on the diabetic or the guy with heart failure or heart disease, ultimately the addicted or alcoholic person has to assume responsibility for their health as well. But until they're ready to do that and take action, we've got to keep treating them with sympathy and understanding and compassion. That's the big deal. The world has enough of the other stuff. We just need to, I love that. No fighting in a lifeboat, man. I'm getting a shirt made. That was
too. I like that.
That
Me
was
too.
great,
Me too.
I think that, and I wanted to say, Aaron and Debbie, I was thinking on the break, man, you guys, what you're doing down there, running those halfway, I'm not built for that. I don't have the patience and tolerance required, but man, I'm impressed with it. I really am impressed with your dedication and the opportunities you're giving women down there. And man, you just say you had a men's place too?
Yes. Yeah,
and pet friendly. That's,
yes.
You know how many times I get girls and guys in the hospital and I say, hey, I can make some phone calls. I can get you in somewhere. And they tell me about the dog they got at home or the cats. And I, I've seen that. I've seen people refuse to go get treatment because they didn't have a place or somebody to take care of their animal. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you guys tell us a little bit about that and maybe some experiences that you've had, and how many people do you have that come with pets?
The purpose that I did the pets is that animals are a huge part of my story. It was actually a neighbor asked me if I wanted a horse, and it was while I was on house arrest, and I was I should say maybe a dry drunk. Was that a good word for it? Because I was so miserable. And so she brings me this horse down, and the horse was next to dead. It was laying down. I was in my boxers and flip flops, and I was on house arrest. I wasn't even supposed to be in the yard, and I got in the yard, and I had to walk that horse all through the night because it had a belly full of dirt, had colic. And I walked that horse all night long, and and the raccoons were trying to get me, and the possums, and I'm trying to beat all these animals off because they smelled death. And the next morning, I just kept walking the horse and walking the horse and walking the horse all night long. And the next morning, I saw the light shine in that horse's eyes with the will to live. And what I realized was that was me. I had no life in me, and I couldn't kill myself because of my children, but I didn't want to live. I didn't know how to live with the kind of pain that I lived in, and so I started that house as a pet friendly house because I knew animals taught me how to love again, and it helped me to heal. And I have literally thousands of women that are productive members of society today due to the fact of, I know everything that I went through, and I just told you everything I went through, from the molestations to my parents getting suicide, from the divorce, from being beat to being raped to being arrested. Everything that I just told you, I just told you what I went through. And I went through all that because I'm so good at what I do today. My structure in my houses are bar none. And, and for the ignorance that's on this Facebook and now today, what I'm doing is I'm so very blessed, number one, because I got all those certifications with Cali Estes. and I got a job offer. The most amazing thing that I got a job offer in Mexico. And
Wow.
I am working in a place called Relive Mexico. It's only 8 women. They don't even take insurance. And it's amazing. They take their clients swimming with dolphins. They go out and we go and play with monkeys. And I've never, I was the one that they said would never become a productive member of society.
Yeah.
Right.
I was the one that they wanted to lock away for life. I was the one that had my cup half empty all my life. And now my cup is so half full. And I went through everything that I did to be as good as what I do. I have thousands out there that are happy, joyous, and free because it took somebody like me to show them the way. When somebody would say to me, they'd have their masters, they say to me, Debbie, what are you doing? And I'd say to them, have you ever been molested? Have you ever been raped? Did your mom hang from a rope? And if they said no, then I didn't listen to anything they had to say.
Right.
I didn't want to hear nothing, So I truly believe, that I went through everything that I went through to be able to help people, and I truly believe in peer-to-peer support, that it takes one to help one. And that's why, same as Aaron, I even have guys and I'm even guys, I stand up straight to them and this is the way it's going to be, my way or the highway. And they listen to us and they respect us because they know I'm not telling you anything I didn't go through myself.
Right.
Health and weight.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That I got sober and Amy did too. And I also work there now, and it's a free facility, and it's the biggest, best facility in the state of Kentucky. And almost all of the Recovery Kentucky centers are modeled off of us, but we're a peer-driven social model.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do not have clinicians, we don't have doctors, we have none of that. All we have is one alcoholic helping another.
Yep.
And everybody that pretty much works there, and everybody, and we have 250 women just in the facility that I work at. That's not including the men's facility down the street and another facility in a different county. We have about 700 men and women that we house, feed, and clothe for free.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For free to the client. They don't pay anything. We do not, we don't bill their insurance. They completely get to come there and get sober. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen Rat Park, if anybody knows what that is, but I believe in that so much that if we are invested in the people, and if we get invested in our lives in recovery, then we're more likely to stay sober.
Absolutely.
I got invested in the bonds that I made with the women that are there because we had to walk together every single day. We had to walk 3 miles to get to a class. On the weekends, it was pretty much get out and go to meetings. And we had to find meetings all over the city and walk and build bonds together. And we built ourselves from the ground up. And now I get to go back and I get to help women through that process. And I also, Debbie, believe that I went through everything that I went through so that I could be educated and be in a position that I'm in right now to be able to help these women, because one day these women were going to need my help and I had to be here for those people.
Absolutely.
And I believe that with everything in me. And I'm really grateful that that's where my life has taken me. And I don't regret anything that I went through or anything that I've done. And all of the pain that I put myself through living in the darkness for so long. And I was one of those people that once I found out there was another way, I latched on.
Yeah.
Like I latched on to it and I've never turned back because I just didn't know there was a different way.
Yeah, but you all
Debbie,
are
I
blessed
love
to have
what you're
that
saying
up
about the,
Yeah.
I have a girl I'm working with now, man, she can't sit still. She's all over the place. And I sent her out to a dog grooming place. She got a job walking the dogs. She called me. I said, how'd it go? She said, man, for 2 hours, I took care of those dogs. It was the only time today I didn't think about me.
Yep.
The healing power of animals just can't be overlooked, and what they do for us and how they inspire us, man. And your story is just incredible. I love that with you and the horse, man, just walking till dawn. And I'm excited, man, to hear that and see what you're doing with that.
You are blessed to have that program you have up there. I mean, as big as we are down here, we have 23 detox beds. That's it. Here.
Wow.
So we don't have.
You have what now? Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
We
I
only
missed
have
that.
23 detox beds in Palm Beach County. That's it.
In the whole county?
In the whole county. We don't have what you have there. Like,
yeah, Louisville's a recovery city.
Yeah. I mean, most of our clients come in with nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You know, and we give them time to get a job, and, you know, the guys in the house or the girls in the house pay it forward and feed them, or we'll feed them and clothe them, and, you know, and then they're successful and they're like, guess what? You know, I got a really good job, and, you know, the light comes on, and you know, it just makes my heart smile.
Yeah.
You know,
I was going to school downtown. I was about 3-4 years sober, decided to go back and advance my nursing degree. And I was downtown. There's a homeless shelter in a place called Wayside Christian Mission down by the school. And I'm working with classmates, and we're walking for lunch, and this girl runs up and says, Amy, I got a job. I said, man, that's great. And we get into McDonald's, and the girl behind the counter said, hey, I'll call you tonight. And I said, that's great. And the lady at the fries turns around and says, I got my kids back. I said, oh, man, that's terrific. You know, and I'm walking back to school with these people in my class. Another lady runs up. She said, I'm going back to school. I gave her a big hug. And they said, who are you? I said, I'm real popular with the homeless crowd. So, yeah, but what a neat thing that we get to do that and share and see these men and women put their lives, and they share those things with us, those milestones, man, to see the light come on like that horse you were walking, man. That's the joy of it.
For sure.
It is.
It is. And, you know, the place that I, you know, I got sober at and that I work at, they allow you to sit still for about 6 to 9 months and provide everything for you for that long, so you can actually work the 12 steps, because we're abstinence based. We're not dual diagnosis. It's strictly alcoholism and addiction. And so I was so fortunate. And I got sent there through Department of Corrections because I was sitting in jail. Thank you. I was sitting in jail, and it was either I got kicked out of the jail I was in for smuggling drugs in. So they told me I couldn't be in there anymore, that I had to go somewhere else. And they sent me to another jail. But that's when, you know, they sent me to that place. And I mean, it was just the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was just amazing. So Sarah actually she texted me and told me that I kept rolling my eyes. So listen,
I was trying to tell you to control your face.
But I don't need to do that. Like, it's just my facial features. So I don't want anybody to think that I was rolling my eyes at them. So I just want to throw that out there, okay? So I apologize if anybody thinks that.
It's just her face.
It is, and I don't know what to do about it. I just need to put a mirror up in front of me all the time so I can watch myself, because I'm so dramatic anyway. So, but Sarah, thank you for having my back.
You're welcome, girl. Just trying to tell you.
That's a real friend.
Yeah. You want to hear something crazy? So,
Yes.
You know my story with my dog.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You know the story about my dog.
Well, tell us.
You forgot you're a bad friend.
Oh, and you're rolling your eyes.
And you're rolling your eyes. Well, my dog is a big part of my drug use towards the end, and then my recovery. So I adopted. All right. So I was homeless, living in my car, and I decided to drive over to the west coast of Florida, where I was high on meth for like 3 days. And I saw this puppy in this guy's backyard, and it was raining for like 2 days straight. Trust me, I didn't even blink. I was all messed up. So I was like, wow, this dog hasn't eaten. There's no shelter. So the guy went to work, and I decided to give it my bathrobe and, like, pet it and, like, play with it or whatever. Give it French fries that were probably off the floor of my car. The guy came home and he yelled at me. He was like, that's my dog. She's for breeding. She was 10 weeks old, this little white pit bull puppy. So I was like all freaked out. I was like, oh, man, now he knows I live in this parking lot next to his house. He's going to call the cops. I was already paranoid. So the guy went to work the next day, and I tore the fence down. I didn't need to, but I had to make it look like a crime scene. I tore the fence down. I took the dog. I put it in my car, and I was like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? So I called my friends that lived over, my drug buddies that lived over on this coast of Florida, and they were like, just come here. We'll figure it out. Someone will want the dog. So by the time I had driven over the 3 hours on Alligator Alley, the dog was like, I hadn't showered in days. The dog was licking me and playing in my lap, peed on me, So So I drove over, and my safe zone of like where I slept was the Hard Rock because it was a 24-hour surveillance parking lot. I felt safe sleeping there. So I went over there, and I had felt unconditional love, and it had been something that I hadn't felt in a long time. So I was like, that's it. It's me and you. We're against the world. We're going to do this. So I lived in my car for a year, homeless. You should know this, Elena.
I don't even know that you said it. I'm sorry.
All right. So then whatever. Fast forward. I get arrested. I go to jail. The judge tells me that I have a year over my head if I don't get into a program. I try to do the drug court, the whole nine. So I was like, I can't leave my dog. I have to stay with my dog. My dog is everything. She's my world. She's everything. So I finally found this halfway house in Delray that allowed dogs. Long story short, I end up staying there. My dog wore out its welcome. So I needed to find another place. So I called this place, and it happened to be her place. I went up. I toured the place. It was on this beautiful, like, farm. I remember there was a pig. I remember there was a pool. The only thing, we worked down here. So it would have been like a 40-minute commute. So we didn't go with her house. But it's so funny because now that I was talking to her, I realized that it was her house that I almost lived in.
Aww.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It is.
Amazing.
And I still have my dog, and her name is Boston.
She still has the
Yes,
dog.
she still has the dog,
Yeah.
and I see Snapchats all day of her dog and her baby, and they always play together, and they're
Yes.
like best friends.
Yep.
So yes,
That's awesome.
Sarah's kept her dog. Well, all you guys and your animal stories, I couldn't even take care of myself, much less an animal. But I think that's awesome. Like those are like your spirit animals or
Yeah.
something. So that's really cool. I think it's awesome. And well, like the recovery community is really tight down
Yeah.
there too,
Good.
because all over the country, people flock to Florida to get sober. Did you know
Okay.
that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Florida right now that go down there to get sober. How many
Wonderful.
treatment facilities would you say is just in your area, Debbie?
Millions. I mean, they're ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah,
They're
thousands of
everywhere. I
treatments.
mean, it's there's good, the bad, the ugly. To be real honest, but there's some good places down here. It's funny because a lot of people talk about Florida being the capital mecca of the wasteland, and that's just not the case. You just got to do your research. It's just like anything. You don't go buy a house until you make sure that the roof's not going to cave in. You know what I mean? It's the
Right.
same thing. You got to do your research, and you got to reach out, and you got to talk to people that know what they're doing, like us.
Yep.
So I mean, I went and toured a place today that was absolutely phenomenal, and they actually offered me a scholarship for somebody.
Great.
And this is what was the name of the place today?
Sky.
Yeah.
Sky Health.
Sky Health, and they offered me actually offered me a scholarship for detox.
Well, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And, because I hear, because we're in the industry down there a little bit, and we've met a lot of people from South Florida. And so we hear all the ins and outs of the good places and the bad places and all that stuff. But like if I didn't kind of work around it and know a lot of people, I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue who, like somebody would give me a brochure and it would have like a swimming pool and I'd be like, yes.
That's most of the brochures down here.
No,
Right.
that's hilarious.
So
You know how we distinguish between the good and the bad? The ones we hear
Yeah.
nothing about.
Yeah,
We never hear anything
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
Those are the good ones.
about the good ones.
Yeah. We never hear
Yeah.
good, bad, ugly. You just don't even know they're there.
and that's the scary part because you'll see these brochures and on their website it says the sunny sandy beaches of Florida, and you go there and it's the worst part of town. There's not a lick of sand to be found.
Yeah, it's in the
it's
heart
not sand,
of
it's
Lake Worth.
dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's why when I tell you, do your research. It's like when the Rita of Mexico called me. I went over there for 5 days, just to make sure that the pictures that they have on their website is really what it is. And it is.
Right.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
whenever you have a population of people like us, and especially like the young kids that are all on heroin, that are dying and desperate, and the family members that are desperate to help them. And you have this population of people, there's a really high risk for them to be vulnerable, to be exploited, for them to be abused. Yeah. And I think that just kind of comes with the territory. And so you just have a lot of people out there that are doing that are, exploiting these people that need help. And, when we went down there for the first time and met up with some people, and we toured some places and got to look around and really got a good understanding of what all's going on in South Florida. And we would just walk down the street and we would hear conversations of people paying people to give them drugs so they would come to their halfway house. And there was just so much, it was just crazy to me. Like, we were just sitting on the side of the street eating and we could just hear these conversations. It was right in the middle of Delray.
Elena, we got a caller that we're going to take.
Okay. All right. Hello?
Hi. My name is Jamie and I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
I just wanted to share my story of recovery.
Okay.
I've been from South Florida for 11 years now, and just going through the steps of the 12 steps and NA, and staying off my DOC, how important it is to work NA and just the recovery process in itself.
Awesome. Yeah, nice.
All right, and how long have you been sober, Jamie?
I was 8 years clean prior to April of this year. I've been clean 93 days.
Good girl.
Amazing.
All right. That's awesome. That's amazing. So did you get sober using a 12-step program?
Yes, I did.
All right. Are you from Florida or did you go down there to get sober?
I'm from Florida.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Well,
you should definitely tune into the show. We're here every night at 9 p.m., Jamie, if you want to tune in and catch the show and jump in on some recovery.
Yeah, I think recovery is really important and not relapsing, because that just absolutely sucks.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sure after 8 years it does, but you got back on there.
Yeah, I did. And, I used the 12-step programs through Miami, and then I went back home to Alabama, and that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Nice.
I'm working with a girl now. I just started working with a girl now that had 8 years, worked in the field, was a therapist, all those things. And just like me, and just like, I think it was Aaron, or you the one with the 20 years? When we... what's so important now, and what I'm trying to get with this girl, because I know it worked for me, is just immediately getting involved in that service work, whether that's help set up a meeting or move a chair or give somebody a ride, just to or feed a stray dog, whatever works. But just to immediately get in that that mindset of being of maximum service, like Elena was saying, you're immense to the universe for the harms and those esteemable acts, really building your self-esteem, back up, and using that as I know my story was in hand. I wish I could take those 10 years back because of the harm they caused to people I loved, but I know that it makes me more effective in what I do today.
Yeah, I did heavy-duty drugs for 13 years, and it hurt my family and my friends, and now I'm trying to help other addicts to apply how I stayed clean for 8 years and even up to 93 days now.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't keep what you got without giving it away. Just stay in
you.
the day,
That's
one day at a
right.
time.
Well, Jamie, listen, we only have 2 minutes left on the show, but you're more than welcome to tune in next Monday. And if you want to call back and talk to us again, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
All right. Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Jamie. Keep it up, girl.
Thanks for calling.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
The lady that I did all my classes with, the Addictions Academy, she's coming on next. And I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for this lady. She taught me different things and how to help different people. It's not a one-size-fits-all program. So,
Right.
stay tuned.
All right.
Yeah, you guys watch the next show. We have Robin Higginbotham with Redemption Road, and I guess Callie Estes is going to be his guest tonight. And listen, I appreciate everybody. We had a really great show tonight. A lot of times it's just Sarah and I, or maybe one other person, and we like last week we got off into cleaning products and everything, and so
that was probably on me.
You guys really, really helped us stay on track tonight and helped us have a really good show about recovery and women's issues. And I love the whole aspect of the animals and the pets that you all brought to the table tonight. And I appreciate everything that you ladies are doing down there. And maybe when we come down to South Florida again, I'll meet up with you all.
Love that. And we'll come back anytime you want us. We'll come back.
All right.
All right.
Guys.
Bye. Thanks
Everyone
for
have a good night.
Coming in tonight.
Good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.